Hey guys, welcome back to Bibliophile Reads. I'm Courtney and you're joining me for another weekly reading vlog. Happy Monday. It is, I was gonna say it's a busy day or a busy week, but it's been a busy life. So I think that's just the norm. I wanted to check in and talk about what I read this weekend. So the first thing I finished, which I'm not sure if I talked about this on Friday, so I think I finished it on Saturday, was I did finish Julie Soto's book, Not Another Love Song. I ended up giving that book 4 stars. I actually really liked it. This book followed, I don't remember the names of anybody, followed 2 people who were both in this orchestra, and through time, there's enemies to lovers trope. Through time, they have to work together and they start finding appreciation for each other after being truly irritated by each other at the beginning. There's like a second side quest in this book that is around like the family dynamic. So it's like the Xander is the guy. Xander's got a sideline story with his family. Then you have the story with the main girl, and then you have like the plot with the orchestra. So it was pretty good, really nice pace. I like Julie Soto's pace and style of writing, so that was all good for me. So 4 stars, not 5 stars, just because I feel like it was going in too many directions, like kind of reaching for a lot of different things and didn't need to. Then I kind of got stuck, so I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to read next. I kind of picked up a few things that I had that I had been reading. I picked up Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies Again. I'm only 12% into that, and I do want to read it. I just have not picked it up again, and I see it catching more steam on the booktube world. I will pick it up again. I do own it on my Kindle, so I will at some point pick that up. Then I thought I would read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I also own this on the Kindle. I'm 9% in, and I'm not loving it. This will be my first Riley Sager book. If you read Middle of the Night, please comment down below and give me encouragement to finish it, because right now I don't like the setup. I don't necessarily need a popcorn thriller where it starts and like immediately starts going, but the amount of detail on this backstory when we don't even know like enough of the main story is what is making me want to put it down, because it's just a lot to muddle through and I don't know the characters. I don't know like what exactly is the issue. Like there's a missing child. We're like 20 years forward after the child's been missing. So now the child's an adult. The child was last seen camping with his best friend. And of course the best friend feels guilt and he can't sleep during the night because he's always hearing things, because he feels like he kind of is responsible for his best friend being kidnapped. But that's the general premise, and I just wasn't really following it. So then when I'm in a slump, I go to my go-to. So I did pick up Bibliophile Club book number 47, which is Mallory on Strike. Now, before I talk about this book, I want to appreciate this book. I picked this up on eBay probably a year ago, a little bit over a year ago. And this book is in pristine condition, like never used. Like you can see the spine has not been cracked at all. The pages are phenomenal, and this is the original cover from 1991. So I don't know who had this before me, where it was kept, but it was beautiful. So while I was reading it, I really didn't want to crack the spine, so I was reading it like this, like not even opening up the pages all the way, because I did not want to ruin it. But this book, I ended up giving 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. When I was a kid, I felt like I was a Mallory. As an adult, I feel like Mallory's stories have been immature in the past, as well as Jesse's. Obviously, they're the youngest of the group, but it just was immature. Poor Mallory was the last book I read, and that's when her dad gets laid off. That one was pretty good because of the social commentary, but this one was phenomenal in my opinion. So this book follows Mallory, who, as we know, is one of 8 kids in the Pike household. They're all stair-step kids, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, whatever. They're all stair-step, and with her being the oldest, she often has a lot of responsibilities or is tapped to help a lot with the kids. Now, as someone who can relate to this, I am adamantly against kids raising their siblings. We know in the Babysitters Club there's a lot of parentification, I guess, of the kids, because they are acting as parents both at home and as they babysit. But in this story, it was like over into the extreme. So Mallory has dreams of being a writer. There's a writing contest that is coming up. She decides she's going to enter it. And she can't get her writing done because of the responsibilities she has. She has to do Babysitters Club. She has to help out at home. And by helping out at home, she's like feeding kids, making sure they're bandaged, making sure they're all good. So just a lot for her to take on. And she finally just kind of has a breaking point and decides that she's not taking any jobs at the BSC. And then she's not going to do things at home, right? So I think that's a little unrealistic because she kind of just exploded at home. The BSC one, yes, like people were, she kept turning down jobs and I think people were annoyed with her, but then she decided she's gonna take a break or she's gonna quit, and they offered like, hey, why don't you take a 2-week break and just think about this before you decide to quit. So she takes them up on that offer, and then what is it? So then she, while she's on her break, that's when she tells her parents that she doesn't want to do all the stuff with her siblings. So at that point, her parents start hiring babysitters from Babysitters Club to watch the kids when they need to, which honestly should have been done from the beginning. It's not Mallory's job to raise the kids, but it's the second time that we've seen this happen. And so I just really liked this book. I liked the way her personality came across in the book. I liked the resolution of the book. Even the charge stories, the babysitting actual chapters weren't that bad. So it was good. Anybody who's read the original books, like, you know how they have the writing. Who's your favorite writing? I personally, I like anybody that's legible. I love how Christie's is like perfect cursive because that is her personality. I like Stacy's, which is more like how I wrote as a kid, but not with hearts over my eyes. I think we all did hearts at one point, but not consistently. But Jessie, in my opinion, is the hardest to read because it's cursive, but it's so loose that it all kind of just flows together. Anyway, what's your favorite? Okay, so I read that, so I finished that. And then I decided I wanted to pick out some books to read for the rest of the month. So far I've read 11 books, 12 books this month, and I wanted to read at least 4 more. And I think that's an obtainable goal for me. So I was trying to like kind of plan this out a little bit, although I don't love having a prescribed list of books that I'm reading. I thought I would plan it out just a little bit. So this Babysitters Club book was one, so I got that done. And then I kind of just started feeling like, what do I love to read? Like, instead of, so far I've been waiting for a lot of the newer books to come out, which I still will, but also like, I find passion for different types of books, and I'm veering to different genres, like thrillers, and I love that. And I just want to hunker down into something else that I know that I will love for sure. So I picked up a Campers and Criminals Cozy Mystery. This is by Tanya Kappas. She has 39 of these in the series. I was really deep into these about 2 years ago. Kind of petered off last year, but there's 39 in the series. I think I'm on book 13. I am going in order. So I just picked that one up, and that's Gear, Grills, and Guns. And I'm only like 7% in. I read it while my oldest was at the ortho today. So there's that one. Then I decided that I was going to download another Babysitters Club book. I was on the wait list for it, and it came through, and that's Jessie's Wish. That's book number 48. So I have book 48, 49, and then another super special. But in book 48, it says, let's see. When Jessie volunteers to help supervise the Kids Can Do Anything Club, she meets 9-year-old Danielle. Danielle has a beautiful smile and a great sense of humor, and she has cancer. Jessie has never met anyone like Danielle before. Even though she's very sick, Danielle is courageous and hopeful. She even has 2 wishes. The first is to go to Disneyland. The second is to graduate from elementary school. Jessie knows she has to be strong for Danielle, and so she makes a very special wish of her own. The best friend you'll ever have. Classic BSC covers, blah, 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 blah. So I'm reading that one, borrowed from Libby. Then I thought I had been waiting to read Encyclopedia of Fairies. I love a good series, and this is the first book. It's not that long. I haven't heard too much about it recently, so I think I can go into it kind of fresh. The only thing I know is just been mixed reviews, but I do want to read this one. And then finally, I decided, like, you know how you kind of end up making rules for yourself for no reason? One of the rules I kind of made up in my mind was about rereading books. I don't always enjoy rereading books. However, I reread 2 books this year, and I really enjoy that because, as I've stated before, sometimes a book comes out, you're so excited for it to come out that you just like devour it, and then you can't even like remember what it was about fully, or you know, you're doing booktubes, or you're trying to hit a certain number, trying to get content. And so I reread The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren this year, and I reread A Happy Place like at the last, like maybe December 31st of last year, and really enjoyed rereading those. So I went to my bookshelf looking for more books, and I decided I was going to reread Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is a YA book that came out last year, and this book follows Bailey and Charlie. They meet on an airplane, kind of enemies to lovers situation, and I think they're, if I remember correctly, I think their parents maybe somehow they're connected. I forgot. And this is why I'm rereading it. Anyway, it's enemies to lovers. It's a really quick read because the pages are short, but also just the way that she writes in general. I'm on page 64 right now, hoping to get to like 100 or 150 by the end of the night. And then, yeah, I'm excited about this. So I want to read things I'm excited to pick up, read things that make me like want to be sucked into the book. I feel like, especially with when I was trying to read middle of the night, it was more of a chore versus feeling like sucked in to reading it. Same thing with Let the Games Begin. So I just want to get back to books where I feel like I have to read it. I need it in my hand at that moment. So that is what I'm going to do. And if it means rereading something until something new comes out, that is totally fine. So that is the update for Monday. I'll be back tomorrow. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Hopping on to give you an update on what I read today. Almost forgot, but I remembered I needed to come up and do this. Tomorrow will be a busy day. We have to go in person for professional development, and part of my role includes like getting this set up. Not as intense, this is our second one for this year, not as intensely as the last ones. It was all from scratch, but I do have to be there earlier and like help people get set up and around and all that. So it should be a busy day, but hopefully I have energy tomorrow to read. It really is only like a few times that we're in person for these long days, and so very grateful for my job, and I don't mind these days. It's good to see everybody. But you don't care about that, so let's talk about what I read. So when I left off yesterday, I told you guys I was focusing my energy on Betting on You. This book is by Lynn Painter, and I actually read this book last year when it came out, and what I found, a couple of books that I've reread, is that when they came out originally, I was so excited for them to come out that I raced through them and have forgotten a chunk, like huge pieces of what the books were about. So I gave myself permission to reread the books that I wanted to, and this is one that jumped out at me. I'm gonna finish this today. Yesterday my goal was to get to page 150. There's about 428 pages in this book, and I'm on 263. So just this little chunk tonight that I plan to finish. There's a deleted scene in here too, so maybe a couple pages shy of this little chunk, but that is what I'm going to be reading. It's good. So this book follows Bailey and Charlie, as I mentioned, and they met on an airplane, didn't like each other. They happened to live in the same town. This is a YA book, so they're in high school, senior year, and they end up working at the same job. It's like a funhouse Discovery Zone type place, and start forming a friendship. And I guess it's called Betting on You because they make a lot of bets throughout as part of their thing, but they both share a commonality because both their parents are divorced and are dating new people. So Charlie's mom is dating a new guy that he truly dislikes, and Bailey's mom is dating a guy that she sort of dislikes, but Charlie starts telling her how to get him out of the way and like how to annoy him and stuff like that. So the first part, literally like up until maybe 60 pages ago, no recollection. It was like a brand new book that I had never read before. Now we're at a part where Bailey has brought Charlie onto like a family long weekend that her mom's boyfriend has invited her to. Originally she was gonna bring her friend had to back out, so they brought Charlie, and they're fake dating while they're here, just to annoy the the future stepdad or the mom's boyfriend. We know where it's going to go, but it's really cute. It's really well written, and it is flying by. So I'm going to finish that tonight, and then I can get going on some other books. Last night I did read on my Oasis more of, what's this one called? Gear, Grills, and Guns. And I am now, let's see, I'm gonna have it find my page, maybe about 12% in. Again, these, yeah, I'm on page 19. So I read 9 pages last night before bed, 13% in. These are just really short, like popcorn mysteries that are quick. The characters are all the same. Like once you know who the characters are, you just kind of like fall in, and different things happen in this little town. And so in this series, we follow May, and she moved to a trailer home in Normal. I want to say it's like Oklahoma or somewhere middle land country. No, it's got to be southeastern. Anyway, she moves to this trailer park after her husband dies because he was doing some shady business and got himself killed. And over the span of the books, she's settled into the RV park. She's made some friends. She's the owner of this RV park now, so she's learned all the logistics on that. People come in and out of the town. She's reconnected with her adopted mom and brother, and so it's all these little pieces that come together. And so now we're in book 13. And like I said, not much has happened yet, so I will update on that. Something I didn't update yesterday, and probably for good reasons, is that I had picked up The Husbands for my Book of the Month Club. I was so excited about this book. So glad that I bought it from Book of the Month Club, because this is like a $30 book, and I got it for $10.99. And I started reading it and was immediately like, nope, I don't like it. It's not that long. It's 338 pages. But I swear it is dragging. But I put it on audio because that's really the only way I was going to be able to finish it. And I think the problem with this book for me is the sort of Groundhog's Day of it all. As I mentioned before, this book follows our main character who we just start the book off. We kick off with different husbands coming out of her attic. And so every time a guy goes up to the attic, a new husband kind of appears. And so she's kind of swapped out quite a few, like 10 plus different husbands. And so currently she's with the husband that she doesn't live in the house where the attic is at. She lives inside of a fancy rich house. And so she's trying to figure out, like, how does she get back to the attic and get this guy up to the attic? But as she's trying to figure out this side of her life, she also notes that the other guys that have come out of the attic are real people, and they're doing different things in the world since they're not with her. So the one guy she really connected with was Carter, and he was from United States, and he wanted to be with her, right? And he wanted to, but she wasn't sure if it was like for green card or what, I think was the issue. And now he's back in the United States. And so she really liked him. I think she's going to try to find that out. Anyway, I don't like this book at all, and I'm going to finish it because I want to mark it as done, but it's just too many Groundhog Days. When I think about the last one I read like this, it was The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter's writing, as you can tell, but it wasn't like too many times. It was like 3 times repeated, and it was fine. We're like on the 10th, 12th, 11th time of repeating. So at this point, it's just too many times in my opinion, but it is happening. Then today is New Drop Tuesday, and I did not have any books to buy, but I had an appointment next to the Barnes today, and just popped in for a second, and I found that they had The Fiancé Dilemma sitting out by Elena Armas. This book is not due out till next Tuesday, and so I was like, what? Why is it out so early? It is a Barnes & Noble exclusive, so I thought maybe they got like they could put it out early because it's got exclusive content. But this one says, Josie Moore has given the opposite sex and love plenty of chances. 4 exactly if you count all her failed engagements, and 5 if you include her no longer absentee father. Nonetheless, when the business tycoon decides to announce his retirement with a splashy magazine piece, and Josie learns that her romantic history isn't great PR for the family, she jumps at the chance to offer a solution. Matthew Flanagan is in the mud, literally. Not only has he been fired from his job, but after taking a wrong turn on his way to Green Oak, North Carolina, his car is stuck. So he grabs a duffel bag with his essentials and goes in search of a place to crash until he gets his life and vehicle back on track. But instead, he stumbles upon his best friend's sister, Josie, greeting him as her fiancé. What starts as a big misunderstanding quickly turns into a fake engagement, with Matthew playing the role of the doting fiancé as he and Josie are swept into a PR whirlwind. The ring on Josie's finger makes her stomach turn, but she knows this is only temporary. They have rules in place, and one of them is that no matter what, there will be no exchange of I do's. But that's easier said than done, as lines soon start to blur, and the rest of the small town comes to believe the fifth fiancé is truly the one. So, that is this one. I really like the sound of that. Now, I've been hit or miss with her. I did not like the Spanish Love Deception, but I did like The Long Game. The American Roommate Experiment was mid for me. So we will see how this one goes. I'm hopeful this is good, but I was so surprised it was out early. So check your barn. Well, by the time this comes out, it'll already be out, but maybe I'll post it on my community tab. Anyway, super excited to get into that. So that is my update for Tuesday. I will check in with you guys tomorrow, hopefully, if I'm not too tired. Hey guys, happy Thursday. Hopping on to give you an update on what I read. What happened yesterday is exactly what I knew was going to happen. I did not post anything. We had, so like quarterly at my job, we do an all staff professional development, and it's in person. It's like a conference style where like you pick different courses and go all day. And part of my work is coordinating that. And so it's very exhausting just being in space for so long, like you forget. And then the next day after, I'm always so grateful that I don't have to do that all the time, but it was nice to see people and engage. Better to come home. I loved that too. So I did not hop on to give you an update, but I did read and I finished a book. Oh my gosh, I was so tired yesterday. Like I could barely keep my eyes open until about 10. And then we turned off the TV in the room, started to go to sleep. And do you know, I was all of a sudden had a second wind. I'm scrolling. It was, yeah. So I went to bed about 10:45. Anyway, last night I did finish Jesse's Wish, which was book number 48 in the Babysitters Club. This book followed Jesse and all the girls. And in this book, they decided they were going to do a volunteer month, basically. And Jesse had this idea because the after-school program that her sister Becca goes to in Charlotte lost their teacher. And it's a volunteer position, but they didn't have anybody to keep the program running. And her sister was upset about it, and all the kids were upset. So she decided she wanted to have that ability to volunteer. And so she brought up the idea to everybody, like, why don't we volunteer for the month, not accept as many jobs or juggle the jobs. And so all of them found places to volunteer. Some people did like daycare, some people did areas with for kids that had special needs, and Jesse did the after school program. And basically the whole story is that at the after school program, Jesse encounters a girl in 5th grade who has had leukemia, has cancer, and she comes back from being in the hospital, and obviously she's lost her hair, and there's just all these questions for her, and we kind of just follow that journey. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I thought it was good. I personally don't like books like that because they just are devastating in my opinion. I mean, nothing bad happens, nobody dies or anything, but it was very interesting. Now, the girl, Danielle, she was something. She was written very adult. I made lots of notes on my Kindle as I was reading. She was very adult, so the way she handled the questions, and so that wasn't necessarily as realistic. I don't know if I still have it. Okay, I returned it to the library. I was like, I wonder who wrote that book, but yeah, so I gave that 4 stars, and it was okay. I mean, I'm reading the whole series, so I recommend the whole series, but yes, it's next in line. Then I picked up The Fiancé Dilemma. I found this Tuesday. And it doesn't come out till next Tuesday. So when I picked it up, I'm on page 36. I'm just kind of starting it, but basically we open up to Josie, who is kind of a hot mess, but she lives in a small town, and her dad is pretty well off, but he didn't know about her or chose not to acknowledge her until she was 17 and her mom passed away. And so now that she's an adult, she lives in this small town, but she's had quite the, I don't want to say risque life, but it's just like a little bit more than necessary for a politician. But one of the things is she's been engaged 5 times, or 4 times, and it doesn't look good for her dad, the politician, and so the dad kind of sends PR over to get her to kind of settle down and make her life look put together. And she's wearing a engagement ring when the PR person comes. So she just sees her sister's best friend sort of walking in the town and says that they are engaged. And so we're kind of going from there of this fake dating scenario. Nothing major has happened, nothing good or bad about the book. It's just I'm only on page 36. The characters are cute so far, and so we'll just keep pushing on that tonight. And then last night for my reading at night on my Kindle book, I actually softened up Gear, Grills, and Guns. I think I might listen to it on audio at some point, but you know, like after you haven't been in a series for so long, it just doesn't hit the same. And so that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. It's not hitting the way I want it to hit. So I didn't want it to like slump me. They're literally like 250 pages. I should be done by now, and I'm like 12% in, so I didn't want to read it. But I continued to, well, actually I went back to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. If you don't know, I am a late in life Potterhead, and I have read, well, I first read the series in 2016 or 2017, and I, from there, was obsessed, been to the Harry Potter world in California, have a huge Harry Potter collection of books, my channel, lots of little memorabilia stuff, and I read the books every year. Well, I've taken about 1.5 years off of doing that because I was on my 4th or 5th reread and I just needed a break. And so I have picked up book 1 again, and I must have gotten, maybe I did it again last year trying to start, but I was already 22% into the book. So I just picked up there because clearly I've read it so many times I know what happens in the first part, but I am just in Diagon Alley with Harry and Hagrid, and everybody is seeing him for the first time and being like so excited that Harry Potter has come back and returned. So that's where I am. It's about 22% into the book, and I'm fine with that. So I will continue to read that once the lights are off, but I'm going to shower and read more of this, tear down some content on YouTube in the background, and that's my plan for the rest of the night, and I will check in tomorrow. Hey guys, happy Saturday. Welcome to the last day of the vlog. Here to give you an update on what I've been reading. So really, the past couple of days have been all about the fiancé dilemma. I picked this up. It's not due out until next Tuesday, so my goal is to finish it this weekend. I'm on page 206, and there are, let's see, about 410 pages, so basically exactly halfway through. And this book is a companion novel to The Long Game. So the 2 characters in that book are in conjunction with this. So Josie and the main character in the other book are sisters. Let me see if I can find her name. I know I'm horrible with names, so I had to pull the book out. So this is The Long Game. This came out last year, and it's Adeline and Cameron's story. And in this story, Adeline's dad is sort of punishing her for having this huge PR scandal for him, sends her to this small country town, and then she connects with Cameron, who's an ex-soccer player, yada, 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 love ensues. And now in book 2, we have Josie, who we find out towards the end of The Long Game, spoiler, that is Adeline's sister. And then Cameron is actually the main guy, Matthew, in this book's best friend. So in this book, sort of same premise, except this time the dad, Andrew, needs some cleaning up of his own image. And Josie is a problem with that because she has been engaged 4 times. And she's like known as the runaway bride. It's just not a good look for their brand. And so As his PR person is telling her about all this, she comes across Matthew, who I guess she's met or they've been in a group chat before, and she just says that they are engaged and we're sort of in this fake dating trope. So far, it's giving 3 stars. It is good. It's taking a little bit to like get the flow. I think around the 180 mark, we started seeing some sort of chemistry between the two of them and Matthew's kind of personality come out, which I really enjoy. And you could tell he definitely likes her and wants to do anything he can to support her. And he's like trying to put her in her soft girl era, basically. And she's like, I've been doing everything by myself. She is the mayor of the small town. And so she's not really interested in having a whole bunch of help and support for herself. But he's ready to do that for her. So we will see how it goes. My goal is to finish this like today and then move on. I don't know what I'm moving on to yet because I want to read The Grandest Game comes out on Tuesday, and I definitely want to jump into that. So I want to read something that will get me to Tuesday, but I want to start reading The Grandest Game on Tuesday. So we shall see. But anyway, that is that. And then I have paused The Husbands. Listening to it was fine, and I might still listen to it. Maybe that'll be the last book I do, but I am using Spotify Premium for it. And you only get 15 hours per month, which, I mean, is equivalent to Audible because an audiobook is between like 8 and 15 hours, so it's like 1 credit. And the issue is that I needed to listen to a book for work. And since I had that long commute earlier this week, I listened to it and I put The Husbands on the back burner, but I will pick that back up. I think it's a good idea to try to finish that this weekend too, if I can. Just put it in and listen to it while I'm doing all the things because I want to knock that off my list. It's not horrible. It's just too repetitive, as I had mentioned before. So that is the rest of my plans for reading this weekend. I hope you guys liked this week's vlog. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you're reading or what you did read this past week. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.